Hello! Oh my gosh, hello! How is everybody today? Oh my god, look at all of these gorgeous, spooky people here. Alright, so clearly you know why we're here. We have a mystery tier list to get through. Before we get started, in the chat, can you guys tell me what you think? Oh my god, Punk. What you think this is going to be? The Penguins of Madagascar? Close. Science. What HHN icon? Who has the tastiest teeth? Monster PP. Likelihood of horror survival. Would Randall Boggs would bang? What kind of car? Master Pass. Hot villains. Tears. Tasty teeth. Interesting. Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah. We are doing what horror trope character are you? Yes. I'm so glad that you guys are excited because I'm excited too. Now, keep in mind, this isn't whether or not you're going to survive, okay? I need to put down a couple of rules, okay? Or not rules so much as oh my god, purple. Ah! Another step closer to sexy priest Oki. Thank you so very much. Yeah, we're gonna set some guidelines on this. I was gonna originally put like 8 categories on this, but I narrowed it down to 6. And some of them are kind of mixed in together. Some of them that are a little bit similar, but they kind of represent different trope characters and sometimes some that aren't really like too overt. But this has nothing to do with whether you survive, with whether you die first, any of that, like, you know, died first list. Yeah. While these tropes are in place, some of them break the convention sometimes, you know, it just depends on the film. It depends on, you know, what's it called, like the tone of the movie and stuff like that, whether they're actually trying to actively break conventions and stuff like that. Yeah, we're gonna get down into the breakdown of the 6 categories that I chose. Let's get into it. Okie dears, horror movie trope tier list. Let's go. The categories are the killer and or the creature, the final girl, the final boy, or the final survivor, the prophet and or harbinger, the himbo, bimbo, or thembo, la criatura, the nerd, stoner, goth, the jock, and the hunter. Oh, and I was supposed to get rid of the red herring, but I didn't. Don't worry about that one. Yeah, I pretty much narrowed it down to 6 categories. It's gonna be pretty general. I need everybody in chat, get your thinking caps on. Let's put on our little school hats and let's start taking some notes because this is my study portion. Can you cross categories? You definitely can. If you didn't bring any pencils, that's okay. That's okay. We allow you to copy off of your buddy's work if they like. I'll have notes for everybody at the end. So let's get into it. Let's talk about what these tropes are and what I feel they represent, okay? Let's get it. First off, we have the killer and or creature. We have a PowerPoint, bitch. We have a fucking PowerPoint. I went hard in the paint for this. The killer and the creature, the big bad of the film, could be a supernatural entity or just a normal everyday person. Sometimes a victim of circumstance, sometimes a force of nature, mostly just pure evil, passionate and determined. We have examples: Leatherface, the Xenomorph, Sadako, right? The killer can represent an unstoppable force, you know, they can represent death itself often. They are often the antithesis of what the other characters are going to represent, right? If they represent death, then the other characters are going to represent things like life, things like joy, things like a carefreeness of like, they're going to represent youth, they're going to represent quote unquote normalcy, you know, they are going to represent everything that the rest of the characters are not. Now, in terms of ranking people as this, I think it's somebody who's, you know, intense and not so much who doesn't care about other people, but who kind of marches to the beat of their own drum and doesn't really care too much what people think, you know what I mean? They're seen as an other, quote unquote, an outsider. The reason why I put creature is because we're not just talking about slashers. Slashers are the typical, you know, where you see the formula, you know, the final girl, the jock, the nerd, the this, the that, right?
Okay.
But there's,
as an actual teacher, Earl, I'll make sure to give you a grade for this.
I gotta get a good grade. I'm gonna get a good grade. Yay. Oh my god, I never got good grades in school. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Oh, stop it, you guys. You're making me really happy about. No, okay. Yeah, exactly. The Jason, Freddy, Michael. Of course, those are, you know, notorious killers. And that's why I have Leatherface here to represent that. But then we also have something like the Xenomorph. The Xenomorph is a killer, but is it acting on nurture? Does it know that it's evil, or is it just acting on nature? You know what I mean? That's kind of another aspect of the killer slash creature, is that they might be more of a animalistic or naturalistic thing rather than just like some like psycho killer, you know? Yeah, it's pretty much the big bad. The antagonist, whether they know it or not. Killing for purpose versus want. Exactly. So another the reason why I nixed to the category red herring was because I feel like the other categories can kind of fit into this one, you know? So just for brevity's sake, I kept it down to those. Yeah, that is the killer and or the creature. Will sexiness be a factor? It could be. Let's go on to the next one, which is the final boy, girl, and or survivor. The last one left standing, though at what cost? This character may appear ordinary or even meek, but has an extraordinary quality that helps them conquer the odds. Kind and courageous. Examples of this are Laurie Strode from the Halloween series. We've got Ash Williams from Ash vs. Evil Dead, and we also got Chris Washington from Get Out. There are lots of different examples of the final girl, boy, or survivor, and sometimes they don't always even survive. Perp definitely has final survivor energy. My band has a song named Final Girl. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, Rummy. Fuck yeah. Love the production value. Why, thank you. I put my whole Okussy into it. Now, this character isn't always like the battle-hardened badass, right? In fact, most often times they're not, and they're not equipped. They're often an ordinary person who just has one different viewpoint, experience, personal trait. But yeah, they are often, you know, the kinder, meeker character, and they are the audience's mirror into the action that is happening in the film. Right? Most of the time they are seen as kind, yes, but sometimes it can be a little bit morally dubious. It just kind of depends, you know? Next, the Prophet and or the Harbinger. Now, I fucking love this character. I don't see it talked about a lot, but I think it is so important to the film. And this is why I didn't rank people as like, oh, who dies first or whatever, because sometimes these characters die first, don't die at all, die last. They are not even a character per se, perhaps not a large role, but an important one. Sometimes the first character to die. This character often sets the tone for the film and gives ominous warnings that the rest may or may not heed. At times, they might seem omniscient, intuitive, and mysterious. And we've got, for example, Crazy Ralph, we've got Carol Ann, and we've got Randy Meeks from Scream. Like, for example, the first victim in Nightmare on Elm Street. The girl who was having the prophetic dreams of Freddy before he broke out into the rest of the street. Drew Barrymore at the beginning of Scream. There's a character whose death sets the tone for the rest of the movie, and they know who the killer is. Or that old neighbor in Pet Sematary, exact. Very, very, very important. Next, we have everyone's favorite, the himbo, bimbo, or thembo. Absolutely. Also known as the bad boy or the bad girl. This character isn't afraid to indulge and live their life to the fullest. While they're notorious for being frivolous, they often far more complex than people give them credit for. Fun-loving and support. So I have this big theory that what this character represents is like, I mean, I know obviously, you know, we can go for the obvious thing, and like they represent like sex, you know. They're the young, spunky, young, dumb, full of, you know, character who doesn't give a fuck, and they're flippant, and they're vapid, and they're this and that. But in that, and in some of the research that I've done, I feel very much like they represent, or they embody life. You know, they embody vitality, they embody being alive, and that is why they get it so fucking hard from the killer who represents death. They are the like polar opposite of that. Examples, we've got Glenn Lance, who is Heather Langenkamp's or Nancy's boyfriend in Nightmare at the top. Then we've got Paige Edwards, Paris Hilton, obviously from House of Wax. And then we've got Tatum Riley down there. Yeah, so I feel like it's kind of a disservice to what this character represents to just say like, oh, you know, they're just like the dumb, you know, sexy character, whatever. Like, no, they are living life to the fullest. And the killer or like the entity often sees it fit to punish that and snuff it out. All right, next we have the nerd, stoner, and or goth. Yes, that's another thing. You can be multiple things in this. Oh, right, Jack, gotcha. Thank you so much. The nerd, stoner, and or goth. This character has book smarts, street smarts, or just good instincts that give them a different perspective. They may not be confident in themselves at the start, but are invaluable to those around them. Perceptive and creative. The gay lunch table, yes. Examples here, I have Marty Mikalski, I have Lydia Dietz, and I have Eddie Kasbrak. You guys know him. You guys love him. These are us, you know. These are the characters who are othered and or outsiders, you know. And often I feel like this is the character, besides the final girl, boy, or survivor, who can connect the most with the killer because they are seen as an outsider. You know, they are seen as other. In different iterations, you know, a goth is going to be different from a nerd, who's going to be a little bit different from a stoner. But they're all like the kids on the outside of the popular kids table, you know what I mean? And that gives them a different look in than the rest of the characters, you know? Which leads to them having, you know, which leads to them often saving the day sometimes, you know? But yeah, the nerd, stoner, and or goth. And the final one that we have is the jock and or the hunter. The athlete or authority figure. Emboldened by their physical strength or sense of justice, this character can and will do something about their circumstances using their strength to try and save themselves and others. Tenacious and heroic. We've got Dennis Gilder, the jock friend to the nerd from Christine. Oh, Nuts and Bolts Vtuber, thank you so much. We've got Dr. Loomis, and we've got Clarice Starling from Silence of the Lambs. Yeah, keep in mind, I put Jock and Hunter together because I feel that it doesn't just stop at like physical strength. It has to do with like a resilience with them, you know? It's a mental strength also that leads to them being the kind who just like, you know, they cannot put the case down, you know? They can't let this killer stand, or you know, they can't let this injustice stand. This is somebody who is tenacious and wants to get the big mystery figured out, right? Sometimes the jock is a jerk, not all the times. Yeah. So those are our categories. I think it's cool you put jock and authority figures together because thinking about it, jocks are kind of like high school authority. Exactly. Yeah, because keep in mind this ranges across like a lot of different age groups and stuff like that. All right, we have all of our categories ready. You give me an A+? Thank you. I never did good in school, but that's just because they never gave me stuff that I was passionate about. Thank you.
Actual Earl teacher chiming in. Very informed opinions relevant to each topic that not only kept attention focused on the subject, but you as the one speaking. I'm grading this with a solid 150 and giving you a gold star sticker.
Oh, I get a gold star! Ah, thank you! Thank you guys. Aww.